What's going on, guys? Okay, so today's video is just to welcome in the London session, and London is on its way right now. It's 9:30 in the morning. We are currently riding the Brinks box itself. Now listen, if you are new to the channel, the Brinks box is in essence the setup for the rest of the day. They usually make their moves in the Brinks. They either initiate a stop hunt rise or a stop hunt low, and then price will take its due course throughout the rest of the session. Now, last night's price action, ladies and gentlemen, Bitcoin makes a lovely move to the upside, starts holding in and around this range. However, we must be cautious because the Asian session itself is quite controlled. So we may see some more further upside movement by Bitcoin, but we just need to be mindful of the fact that we have been riding up for quite some time. We are potentially due for a retrace back into the zone to initiate this development of this pattern right here. Now we go back into this zone right here, and as you can see, the W formation that we've been waiting for to break out appears to be playing out very well. Okay, now we've also got this bigger W formation, which is probably going to take a little bit of a while to play out, but then we also have this M formation. So which is it? That's going to be based on your decision on where you decide to trade and what kind of trader you are. If you're a swing trader, you're looking for a medium-term range, then this pattern right here, if it's going to contain and hold itself, Bitcoin is likely to try and make its way back up into these key zones in the chart where the previous vector candles reside. Okay? Now, what I want you to pay attention to is this. Bitcoin on the higher time frames has shown, in essence, two pushes away from the range. Now we've got this range right here, and then we've got this zone right here, but I like to count this one first. Why? Because this is the way they move away from ranges. Okay, this is when we determine the shifting of the range. It's not necessarily a false move, because a false move usually happens like so. You see this block right here, price rises up and then it drops back down and continues the it resumes the trend that it initially was involved in. But when you see this sort of thing happening, when Bitcoin breaks above a moving average or two, all right, when it's trying to move away from it and the moving averages are still pretty much flat, this is a shifting of a range. All right, they need to get out of here because they have been trapping traders in this zone and getting them to commit to the shorts, and then they need to come and hit back those liquidation points for those shorts. Now, Bitcoin has come back up into this range and it's seeing a little bit of a resistance. Ultimately, the 800 EMA is what we need to be focused on today. All right, we do have the news plays. Okay, this is the issue with news right now. Anything can be said and anything can happen. All right, so we've got to be mindful of that. There are many people right now jumping onto the bandwagon and hoping that Bitcoin continues to rise from this point. In my opinion, is this a good place to start opening entries in relation to the hybrid system? No, that's my opinion. And that's not financial advice. Why? Because we could experience a retrace. Look at the moving averages. The 5 and the 13 EMA are near enough standing up like pencils. All right? They haven't even been tested yet. Now, of course, you drop down a time frame, you're going to see that the 5 and 13 are doing a real good job of holding price. Look, 5 is doing well. 13 hasn't been tested since yesterday. Okay, not even yesterday when it broke out from the 13. It didn't even test it once. But that's on the 1 hour time frame. Okay. When you're making a decision as to when you're going to trade, you need to be mindful of the time frame that you're trading from. You see, the 4 hour time frame shows you a different story, and it shows you that the volatility has come into the chart. Do we expect a retrace to happen in this session? Drop to the 1 hour time frame, it just shows that Bitcoin is just moving nicely to the upside, and it hasn't even violated the 13 EMA. So you must make the decision on which time frame you're going to be trading from, because that's going to be critical for you in terms of how long you decide to hold a position for. More importantly, how much risk you're going to put in. All right. Remember, give the coin a chance to move. Whether you're trading Bitcoin, Ethereum, or any altcoins, give it a chance to move. Don't bother opening a trade and setting your stop. For example, you go long from this area, okay, and you want to try and see if Bitcoin can come up into this zone. Don't go long there and set your stop down here. Sorry, you're going to get stopped out, because all Bitcoin needs to do is just spike a little bit more, and it has every reason to do so because it's already tapped that zone right there. If you look closely, you can see you've got a wick right there. Bitcoin can make its way down to it. There's no problem with that. You're not giving the coin a chance to, to really exercise itself and move. All right? Which is why the less leverage you use, the more information you're going to be able to get from your trade as to whether or not you're in the right play or not. Okay? For example, if price does go down and you're in a long, and you've got a liquidation, or should I say your stop allows you to experience price to move all the way down to this point right here, well, you're going to get a ton load of information. Why? Because if price does come back down to the 50 EMA, your position will still be live. You may be in the drawdown, but you'll be at a point in the chart where it's going to, in essence, develop confluences and test if price is going to continue higher from that point. In other words, is this going to be the rise, the retrace, the continuation? Now, if you set your stop here, you're then going to wait to see if price comes all the way back down to this point, and then you'll see it does do that, and then you'll see it bounces away from there, and then you'll say to yourself, what I needed to do was just hold the trade and not use so much leverage or risk. Okay? So remember, give the coin that you're trading a chance to breathe. It's a volatile trading coin. You know, Bitcoin, all the altcoins, whatever, they are volatile. You have to give it room to breathe. Okay? People, they do say, you know, cut your losses, keep it tight, stay in the game. That's fine. But if your range that you're trading from is too tight and you're taking losses non-stop, okay, that tells you that you're not giving the coin a chance to breathe. Okay? Scalpers, it's different. Okay? For scalpers, it's a different ball game because they need to be preserving their capital because they use bigger size for a short amount of time. All right? Now, coming into the UK session itself, Asia has been very tight. They're doing a good job of holding the daily open. I believe that we're just going to see price action move up and down in this range. Might get a bold movement to the downside, red vector candle, and then price will likely try and recover that point. Okay? At least a test of the 13 EMA is due. Okay? Now, once the New York session opens, all right, of course, today is motivated with news plays like it is across the board. All right. So things seem to be a little bit quiet. They may be waiting for something. We need to also explore what is happening across the board in terms of news announcements in foreign exchange. Okay. So check this out. Today's price action. We've got Tuesday. We've got the Aussie dollar cash rate. No interest there. CAD. No interest there. So all day today, we don't really have any key news announcements other than the ISM. Okay, so the PMI. Sorry, missed that. So the manufacturing index right there. Any figure above 50, okay, is positive for the industry itself. Any figure below 50 is a contraction, all right? So they're projecting a forecast of 58. Now, if the figure comes in positive, then that would have an effect on the S&P, and the S&P would move higher. The principal would say that Bitcoin would follow suit. So are we waiting for that news? Is it consistent with price stabilizing and just trading sideways? Okay. Remember, guys, if there is no opportunity to trade and you are forcing the idea of placing a trade, don't do it. All right. Just wait for volatility to come into the charts. Wait for the New York brinks. And this is what's going to happen, guys. You'll notice this. There are days when you come to the charts and there's nothing for you to do. Look, the Asian session high, Asian session low right there. UK brinks, we're not really seeing any volatile movements. It's quiet across the board. And that's a positive sign because they're just keeping price at the high point because they could be potentially waiting for news plays. But then once the news play comes out, they may actually spike the range to the downside, trap the traders to believe that the news was bad, and then reverse back up. Okay, so just be mindful of that. Looking at gold, we can see gold is trying to make its way back up into the range as well. Seems to be recovering this vector candle right here. Change it on the higher time frames. What do we see? We see gold. Any zones in here that they could be coming back to? Not so much, but we've got the wick right there, which we need to be mindful of as well. But more importantly, we have this area right here in gold. So there could be some news that could actually trigger gold to move higher, which would be consistent with Bitcoin potentially coming back down if Bitcoin does trade against gold like that. Okay, so always keep an eye out on that basis, ladies and gentlemen. Just looking at the S&P mini futures markets, okay, you can see it's starting to pull back down. Recovery of this blue vector candle. Hopefully by the time New York opens, we should see this move happen and retrace back up and trade positively. Stocks have done a good job to recover given the circumstances with the news of war, so hopefully we do see higher movement in the charts. Okay, Zooming out, ladies and gentlemen, and looking at Ethereum, for example, she's doing very well to hold this range. So it's positive expectations for Ethereum. Again, we're waiting for news announcements in and around the idea of Russia so we can know where we stand with everything. But remember, guys, we've also got that issue of inflation. Okay, Luna was the star of the show for me last night. I love the way Luna moves. She's aggressive. She always likes to move higher. I refer to it as a she. It's just the best way for me to explain it. And if we look left, we can see that she's done a good job of recovering the previous vectors. We still got this zone in the chart right here that they haven't fully recovered. So that could be a point in the chart that Luna actually makes an attempt for. However, price is above the 5 and the 13. So we've got no reason to believe price is breaking down just yet to look for a recovery. The more time they spend recovering the vector candle in this zone right here, the greater the chance we might see price move away from it one more time before we see a little bit of a retrace. Remember, guys, as well, the last time we were waiting for a retrace and it was Ethereum, it just continued to move higher. The idea is this. Have they moved price down enough? There is a lot of talk that people saying that they want Bitcoin to get down to 29 to 30 before they would actually consider buying. But when we believe Bitcoin needs to go somewhere, doesn't mean it has to get there. All right. Which is why I'll always favor movement over what price Bitcoin is. I'm not interested in Bitcoin's price. I'm interested in the movement around a price point. I will never let price influence my decisions on trading. It's always going to be the aggressive movement away from that zone or towards it. Okay. 800 EMA looks like the actual resistance for the day. If we can break above that, we know what to expect. Rise, retrace, continuation to solidify the resistance of that range. All right. Listen, mad love and respect to you guys. Sorry, I kept it a little bit long, 11 minutes. So that should be enough for you guys to prepare you for the rest of the day. And I'll see you today at 2 p.m. to bring in the New York Open. Mad love and respect to you people. Thank you very much. Boomer moment. It won't be a video without one. Take care of yourselves. Peace.